It felt huge for me at the time. I had never really quit something in my entire life. They just see my last name on my business card. When we start a conversation, we kind of identify what lens do we want to communicate in.
We also never do transition plans. We always do transition roadmaps. We can change our path. So we're still moving towards a destination, but we don't have to have the exact thing.
Hey there, and welcome to Your Next Gen Friend, a successor's guide to business transition, a podcast for figuring out what's next in or beyond your family business. I'm Andrea Carpenter, transition strategist and second gen. Around here, we talk about the real stuff, family dynamics, identity, leadership, wealth, and how to define success on your own terms. Here's to finding your own way forward. I'm so glad you're here.
Hey everyone, so glad to be here with Brecken today. I met her through the Bailey program for Family Enterprise, and this will just be a really fun and special conversation. So she's a next gen in her family, shaping both business and community in the area she lives in, which is Northern Colorado, actually where our firm is based. And as a project manager at Affinity Partners, she's really helping grow her family's real estate business while learning to balance legacy, leadership, and her own identity. So deeply involved in regional development work through ULI Northern Colorado, and of course, the Bailey program for Family Enterprise and some of the next gen work there. So Brecken, so glad to have the conversation with you today.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrea. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be here and talk with you. I've been so appreciative of both the Bailey Family Program for Enterprise and just being connected in that way to other family businesses. I feel like I didn't know how many we truly have in this community, and it's been great to build that as well.
Yeah. Family businesses really are the backbone, and it's so funny because sometimes as a next gen, you can feel like you're the only person in the entire world who works in a family business and has like the dynamics of what it's like to work with family. And so programs like that are really great to help you kind of be able to talk with other people who are also going through some of the family business dynamics and also the fun things, right, that come with working in a family business.
Absolutely. No, it's been great to just learn more about it. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. It felt pretty isolated, I guess, in my peer group, at least, for a while there, of just not having the same experience as them, which is totally okay. And everyone gets to have a different one. But it was hard to just navigate it in the beginning and understanding those boundaries and just how it functioned different than a regular employer-employee kind of relationship.
Yeah, for sure. So let's wind it back. Like, what is your story? At what point did you decide you were going to come into the family business?
That is a great question. I actually grew up thinking I would never be in real estate because that's what my family had did. And I was like gung-ho on, I'm going to do something different. I loved the financial aspect of what they had done. And I think real estate is a really incredible tool of just generational wealth building. And so I thought that was great. And I love just the analytical side of it. So I was like, I'm going to be in finance. I'm going to be in investment banking or alternative assets, but that alternative asset isn't going to be real estate. It'll be something else, and I'll kind of make my own path. But it was just kind of an interesting time in our world. We had COVID and the whole world kind of shut down, and I was in online classes at school. I gone to school in Texas, and then I was back home, but just on the computer kind of going through this, and really just from there graduated early so that I wouldn't have to spend any more time on the computer from there. And I had asked actually at the time, since our company has a full service commercial brokerage under NAI Affinity and then the investment development company under Affinity Partners, I had asked to work on the brokerage side of the house, actually. So kind of further away from what my dad's core kind of focus was just within the development world. I was like, I'm going to stay away from that. I'm going to see what it's like to be in the brokerage world. And I worked as a real estate assistant and got licensed. And the more I did that work, the more I realized that I really loved the development side of it. I wanted to do more than just the brokerage piece. And I was geared up and I was going to go get my master's in finance. And I was like, you know what? I graduated early because I didn't want to be on the computer anymore. And here I am about to go be on the computer since classes were still going to be online, just at that time frame. And so then I asked if they'd kind of hire me full time in that real estate assistant role, which I'm very grateful that they did. And from there, I was kind of able to transition more to the brokerage side of the house where the development side of the house where I really found my passion.
Cool. And what did that conversation when you were like, actually, I'd love to kind of have a job. Like, is there a job here? Like, was that a position they were already hiring for, or did it just align kind of with the growth of the company, and how did you approach that?
Yeah. So the brokerage team is always kind of looking to grow and expand. And so that's why that was the first place I found myself. But it was not the spot that I wanted to be in. So that was really what the ask is, hey, I'm really passionate about this. I want to learn the business. I want to be in this role. And it was just kind of an honest ask of, is there an opportunity here for me? You've seen what my work is. You've seen how I can contribute to the team. Will you make space for me? And I was very grateful when they said yes, and allowed that opportunity for me to really to show what I was capable of and what I wanted to do.
Yeah. I think that sounds like a pretty defining moment. And I don't know how big or small it felt to you at the time, but it really put you on this path, right? Of being able to really immerse yourself more in the business. And also, though, it sounded like you had an awareness of this is a need the business has, but also this is a passion that I have. And is there some type of intersection or position that brings the stuff that I am really liking to do with a need that the business has? Tell me more.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I was just going to say, it felt huge for me at the time. Like you talked about that defining moment. I had never really quit something in my entire life. I'm an oldest daughter. I've always been involved in athletics and was on a Division I team in college, and I've never quit anything in my life. And I was fully enrolled in a master's program, actually at CU Boulder, and I was less than a week away from classes starting. And I was like, this isn't for me. This isn't the path that I want to pursue anymore. And that was a really big moment for me to just have that honesty with myself and not push myself through something that I didn't want to do. So that was a really big moment for me to just really sit back and be like, okay, what do I want? What does Brecken want in this moment? Because until then, I just, whatever my goal was, I went through and I did it. And whether it was for me or what I thought I should do, it was completed. It was done. It was checked off the list. It was another thing on the resume that was completed. And I thought that master's program was going to be another thing on the resume that was checked off. And for me to just be honest and be like, this is not kind of the path that I want to pursue. I think I can learn these things in the business. It's going to be a master's in finance. And I was like, I just did an undergraduate in finance. Like I have the skill set that I need at this time. So to know that I could always revisit that later if I wanted to, helped me, I guess, kind of just rationalize it. I still had to rationalize it in my head that I was going to go in a different direction, but just kind of choosing myself in that moment and stepping up with confidence to be like, hey, will you hire me full time? This is actually what I want to do. I'm not wanting to go on to this other chapter that I had kind of envisioned in my head for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom in there to say like, oh, that's not in alignment with me. I also see a path forward where there could potentially be alignment, but to make an ask, right? It didn't sound at all like you were like, I deserve this job, like, give me the job. And I also hear a lot of gratitude in your voice for the opportunity. Is there anything else you wanted to add kind of on that story and what it meant?
Yeah, grateful really is how I felt in that moment, that they were giving me that opportunity. And like I said, I felt like I had shown them what my work was capable of, but they were under no obligation to actually keep me on the team full time. And so I just felt very relieved that they saw in me what I thought I could provide for them as well at that moment. Just, it was very validating that what I was doing was a benefit to the team.
Yeah, that's great. And though I know from a conversation that we had the first time we met, and just something that a lot of next gens feel is this, like, I did earn a spot here because my qualifications match a role, and it's something I'm excited about, but also, is anyone on the team going to think that I am only here because of my last name? Was that part of your story at all? And anything you sort of want to add on how you kind of moved past that, the optics of that?
I guess that definitely was a part of my story. And I felt that for a really long time of people are thinking that I'm just here because of my last name. They don't know the university that I went to, the degree I got, the work that I put into learning and being qualified to be here. They don't know that. They just see my last name on my business card. And that was really hard for me at first. And it was something that I had asked members of our team, even if we were going to external meetings, hey, can you just introduce me as Brecken? I don't need you to introduce me with my last name. And I've tried to distance myself in a way, actually, from my last name, which it wasn't, I guess it wasn't because I was upset about my last name. It was because I wanted to prove to others that I deserved to be there, even though that was probably just really in my head. For most of it, I'm so honored and grateful for that last name and for the legacy that last name brings, and that it's an example of excellence that I want to rise to. I'm so grateful for all of those things, but I didn't want that to be the leading factor when I was meeting new people. I was like, I just want to be Brecken, and I want you to get to meet Brecken and hear what she has to say and what she's contributing to this conversation, to this meeting, to your investment, to this project, and how are we working together with Brecken to figure that out. So that was kind of, I guess, a boundary that I had tried to have just with our internal team, when it was really just a confidence thing for me. It helped me feel better. Not because I wasn't appreciative of my last name, but because I wanted to build my own brand where it wasn't oh, you're Ryan's daughter. It was the first thing that came out of their mouth when they met me.
Yeah. So there's certainly, like, kind of, it sounds like your team, you didn't really need to build credibility with them. Like, they all respected the position and the role that you had, but for you, it was a lot of who are the external people that you meet when you, like, walk into a room or you start doing a deal, and what is their, like, first reaction, and how does that impact things going forward? Is that accurate for you?
Yeah, I do think that's accurate for me. We have a small team at our company. And so I think that most of them, I mean, a lot of them got to watch me grow up, just kind of the nature of being in a family business. So I've known them for years of my life, and they have had that opportunity to see what I can bring to the table. And I had worked other kind of internships with the company before over just a summer, or when I was a senior in high school, even I came in every Friday and just kind of did office admin work to help and learn more. And so I think that the team had seen me grow up, and they knew what I was capable of, which I'm really grateful for that. And it really was, like you said, that external we're in a small community here in Northern Colorado. And so it's, I just was kind of self-conscious for a while that was the first thing of, oh, you're Ryan's daughter. Even though I'm so immensely grateful to be Ryan's daughter, it was just that I wanted people to get to know who I was first.
Yeah. All right. So that's a good segue in. Let's talk about working with Dad. What's it like?
Yeah. I honestly love it. I think that we have been able to navigate it pretty well. I would say I'm always grateful when I am talking with other family businesses now, and I hear kind of some of the ways that they had to navigate certain situations. I'm like, oh, we haven't had to do that yet. And maybe it's because I have been so close just with my dad my whole life. And we're very similar human beings in terms of personality, for better or worse. But I think that we're turning that into for better, just the way that we're able to navigate situations. But it started with even just, okay, as soon as I started working here, he's like, you'll call me Ryan in the office. We're not going to say Dad, you're an employee. We're showing other people you're just like everyone else here. It's not because of your last name. We know it's not because of your last name while you're here. You're here because I think you're the best person for the job. But you're going to call me Ryan when we're doing the job. And that was kind of the first boundary that we worked through, just in that dynamic of being in a family business. And it was really just a professional boundary to show that we were all kind of being treated the same way. And that was the first lesson that we really did. And kind of from there, I'm just like an absorber of information. I just want to know as much as I possibly can. I love learning, and I love getting to add more just information to that decision-making process, whatever the decision is. The more input, the better for me every time. But I just ask a lot of questions. So then that next boundary we had to set was, okay, no more questions on Sundays. We both need to you can ask questions on Saturdays. I know you probably don't get them all in during the week because you're not spending all of your time with me. You're in the job, you're working, but we can't have questions on Sundays. It's too much to be fully in work mode all the time. So that's always been a funny boundary to me, but I think it's worked well for us. Being able to navigate, okay, how are we splitting our personal time versus our work time? It's not the same as other people, since it can just come up so organically in our casual conversations. It's like, it's easy to jump into work conversation outside of the office. And so that was a good one for us to kind of set in motion too. And the third kind of big boundary that this one took a little bit to figure out for us, but I'm glad that we have. It's when we start a conversation, we kind of identify what lens do we want to communicate in. Am I speaking as your daughter? Am I trying to have a conversation with my dad right now? Because the way I talk to my dad, it's inherently going to be different than the way that I communicate with my employer, with my boss. Or am I having a conversation with my employer? my boss, my mentor that I'm asking a professional question of.
Yeah.
And it goes both ways. My dad, he'll say like, I want to have a conversation with my daughter about this, or I need to talk to you about something as your employer. This is kind of the path. And when we've identified those lenses, it just really helps us to also kind of, whether it's like if you want your feelings really involved in the conversation, like I want to talk to my dad, like I need to have a heart to heart. I'm not having that same heart to heart with an employer that I'm not related to. So how are we kind of separating that to be more effective in our communication, but also have that boundary that's not crossed.
Yeah. I love that. And the first time we talked, when you mentioned the lenses, or some people call them like, what are the different hats that you're wearing in this conversation? I think that's so smart and so wise. And it can be so easy, right? To tangle yourself up and not really recognize what it is. We're recording this. It's 2 days before Thanksgiving. It'll probably come out around Christmas, right? And what's on top of everyone's mind? Like, the holidays and the business. And it sounds like you're the oldest, which means you have siblings who may or may not be working in the business. And like, we don't need to like bring some of those conversations home to the holidays and to family gatherings if that's not right what everyone in the room is talking about. And so I think it's a really smart way to just check in, like, what is the purpose or the intent around this time that we're spending together, and what's our expectation or need from each other?
Absolutely. And it can be so easy to dominate the conversation, just the two of us kind of across the table, because we know so much just personally and professionally about each other. And so it's easy to fall into those conversations, and then you're leaving so many people out of the conversation. And so just trying to bring it back to the personal. It's okay. Like when we're in this space together in the holidays, we're not going to talk about business. We're going to ask people just question, like we're just going to be involved in the conversation like we would at kind of any other personal event. It can be hard, especially if there's maybe a big deal that's happening at work during that family dinner that you want more than anything to try to figure out some last minute details or your stance or your negotiation position, or what direction we have for it, and kind of identifying that vision. But it just, like I said, it can dominate the conversation for others. And so we try to rein it back in, especially around the holidays, for sure. I know that's hard. Like you said, I have a younger brother. He is also ironically in real estate, but he does not work at our company. And so now it's been fun for him to kind of ask some questions too, just about real estate in general. So that's fun to get to bring him into the dynamic there as well. But still trying to keep the focus on what are our personal conversations? We're asking people how their day, what their dreams or goals are, not what our goals at work are.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think it's really important to set kind of those boundaries, and when are we having certain conversations that fit inside each of those categories. So if my math was correct, you likely joined, like you would have moved home in 2020 and likely joined the firm like in 2020 or early 21, which means this coming year will be 5 years at the firm. Like how is it feeling now, like 5 years in? And when you think about the next 5 years, do you still see yourself being there and participating in this business?
Yeah, I will be at 5 years in May. So 4.5 right now, but timing is such a great question, I think, just in general, and how it relates to even how I talked about kind of building my own brand and being introduced as Brecken and being Brecken at the table. Just at work, it's for the first couple of years, I felt like it was really hard to just kind of share who I was. People are always going to know the connection. It's a small community and I'm proud of it. But getting people to talk to me about things other than that, I saw your dad at this event, or I knew you when you were this tall, or whatever it was. Having people now kind of talk to me about things that aren't my family, like that you would talk to with someone else at any other networking event of what are you busy with at work? What are you doing? What's keeping you up at night when you think about our industry? What are you really striving to change here? Yeah. That took some years. And I think what really helped me, we talked a little bit about ULI and kind of my involvement there. But I really got involved in industry, just kind of forums and community there, which helped me kind of build my own brand, but also my own brand of leadership, kind of stepping into leadership roles that weren't directly attached to our company, so that I'm interfacing with people and they're seeing what I have to say and just getting to learn from them and bring people together has been really impactful in my ability, my self-consciousness, honestly, about, are people thinking I'm just in the room because of my last name, or are they seeing me now for my contributions to our community? Yeah. And getting involved in ULI, ULI Northern Colorado, I chair that. It's a volunteer position kind of outside of work. And so getting to bring people together, whether it's every month or kind of every other month, to have great industry informed feedback for various issues, or going on project tours, or just bringing people together in general, I think has really helped me just feel more confident in the room too, of how am I communicating with people? People are seeing me for what I'm bringing to the table, and how we're collaborating, not just because of my name.
Yeah, I love that. And it sounds like there's a lot of just like growth and personal development that you hope to continue doing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Over the next few years. Yeah.
I really, and I guess bringing it kind of back to your question of 5 years and where do you see yourself in the next 5, when I hit 4 years of working here, that was really the first time that I felt like I'm standing on my own 2 feet in the room 9 to 10 out of 10 times. I'm really being identified for my contributions, not the last name. And that was a pretty powerful feeling for me to have. And like, that was something that was truly, I know it was in my own head. We all have something in our own heads, but it's, how are you figuring out how to navigate that? And it took me, like I said, 4 years to really feel like I had built the confidence that I wanted for myself. And in the next 5, I'm so grateful that I feel passionate about continuing this work for the next 5 years and beyond. That really is my goal, to stay within our family business here. And we have pretty big goals within that company of what we want to accomplish by even in the next 10, 20, 35. Just the nature of our business is that projects take so many years to actually come to fruition. You'll be working on it for years and years before you even get to break ground on a multifamily community. And so that also just keeps the vision really long for me.
Yeah, I love that. And just, it's worth saying, right? Because some of the listeners of the podcast are people who are like ready to take over their family businesses tomorrow, and they're ready to kind of step into that leadership space. And to kind of hear you say, like, I'm along for the journey and I'm excited to keep like growing as a leader and to see where I need to go, and just since we had a conversation before about how you and your dad are talking about these things and how he's on the younger side, and you kind of just like recognize that this is something you get to grow and you get to do together. And I think that's something really special. So
Thank you. I think it's really special too. And I'm really grateful to be on this journey with him. Like you said, my family is really young. And so it's not something where I'm sitting at the edge of my seat waiting for retirement. That's never been my mindset, just being in this family business. It's I want to learn as much as I can for as long as I can. And I'm really grateful for getting to have so much time with you. So
yeah,
that means a lot to me too. And I just love getting to be a part of that business, knowing that I am getting to be a leader in my own way. But I don't have to be the leader at the very top right now. I'm okay with that, and knowing that. I guess it's also easier for me to say that though when I really think about it, because I align on so many things within the business. I know there's that's not always common, or kind of like you said, what maybe every listener feels the same way. I think it's easy to sit back and be more patient when you're collaborative in what that future looks like, and you are kind of aligned in that vision. So I don't take that for granted, and I know that's helps me just be really at peace with kind of how we work together as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom in there. I love it. Before we go to our closing questions, is there anything else you wanted to share or add today?
Yeah, I guess, well, I'll give you an answer that I actually just gave. Biz West was asking me the other day is, what do I wish I could tell my younger self? And so it's been on my mind a lot lately. Just what do I wish I could have told myself? And I wish I knew that I didn't have to have it like all figured out at once. Like we talked about when I made the decision to not get my master's, I thought I had to have it all figured out right then and there. And changing it and knowing that life isn't following that straight line that I had planned out in my head, and that the best opportunities kind of come from that unexpected direction has completely changed my career and my life for the better. And I'm grateful for that. At the time, it was so hard for me to figure out a way to move past that. I was asking every single person I possibly could, like, oh my gosh, am I ruining my life by not going and getting another degree? And at the time I was 20, maybe I had just turned 21. And so I was like, am I ruining the rest of my life by not doing this? But just those opportunities can kind of come in the best of ways when life doesn't follow that path that you had set out. And I think just kind of moving forward from that with kind of this sense of curiosity and grit, that resilience, it's really just helpful. That curiosity helps you open those new doors when you keep asking those questions and keep learning, and that grit, that resilience really gives you the strength to keep walking through them when it's different than what you had in your mind.
Yeah. I love that. And you made me think of when we work with companies to do their transition strategies and their transition work. A lot of people come in, successors and owners, right? And they think like it's an event. They like look at this like thing that's going to happen in the future, and it's like everything is building up to this moment. This transition is going to happen, right? And I look at some of the tools that we use, and there's very specific wording. So we have the transition compass, which points you in a general direction of the way you're going, but again, always flexible. And you never exactly know what the points are on your compass until that moment, because things can change, right? Situations can change. We also never do transition plans. We always do transition roadmaps, because if you think of the analogy of you and I, we both live in Colorado. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to drive from Colorado to California. And we start up I-70 and all of a sudden there's like a big snowstorm. And we're like, there's no way we're going to make it over. All the roads are closed or whatever. So we say, okay, but I still really need to get to California. So let's turn around and then let's go south through Arizona instead of across 70. We don't need to go across 70. We can change our path, right? So we're still moving towards a destination, but we don't have to have the exact thing ready. And it's a roadmap, and we can change the way that we get there or the path if we want to take a little extra time or drive past the world's largest ball of yarn. I don't know. I feel like we did a lot of road trips through the Midwest, and there's lots of funny stuff like that there. As we do that, right, we always give ourselves flexibility to pivot and shift. And that's, I heard a lot of that wisdom, right, which is this direction of I'm going to keep growing as a person, and I'm going to keep learning, and I'm going to keep making sure that I'm providing value to the business and the community, whatever that looks like. But if something changed and it was no longer right to do it in this way, I now have permission to explore other ways that are still going to help me achieve the objectives and the things that are important to me. So I love
For
that.
sure. And I have to give a lot of credit to my husband just on that adaptability piece, because like I said, being that oldest daughter, having my whole life planned out ahead of me, I was not very adaptable for a very long time. I wanted things to go exactly how I had them in my head. I was like, this is the only way that I can get to where I want to.
Yeah.
And he was in the military for many years, and his life was very unpredictable then. So just that was the nature of being a service member, and really taught me a lot that, okay, we can still get to where we want to, but it's not going to be probably the way that we thought it was going to go. And that has been just a really impactful lesson for me too, and trying to carry that then into the family business of, okay, like we have this big goal. It's out there. We've identified it. This is the path that we think we need to take to get there. But if we need to change it along the way, we can. And being able to have those conversations is wonderful. Just to my mindset of we don't have to follow that straight path. Like you said, there's options for that roadmap.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Well, let's wrap up with the 3 questions. Brecken, what have you chosen not to inherit?
Gosh, I know we had talked about this question, and I think it's the one I struggled with the most, because I feel like when you're thinking about what are you not inheriting, you're choosing something that doesn't serve you. You're choosing something that's not helping you get to that next step. And I just think there are so many incredible lessons that I have learned from my family that I do choose, that they are pretty timeless in a way. Just that confidence, the advocacy, the philanthropy, and giving back and supporting others in your community are also, I guess, just critical to the way that my family has kind of taught me to be, that I'm so proud to choose those. So if I'm really picking one, I think advocacy really sums it up of what I am choosing. You're advocating for yourself, for your community, in whatever role you're in. You're advocating for your partners, your investors, your colleagues. You're stepping up to be there, to be that leader and support people. And that one's really important to me, kind of in all aspects of my life.
I love that. And what's a part of your story that you're learning to honor right now?
I am learning to honor, I think, just the phase of life that I am in. We talk a lot about work-life balance, kind of everyone does. And I think that's an even bigger conversation when you're in that family business of, I don't know. I don't think you're ever going to have 100% balance at any one time. There's going to be phases of your life where it is more work, and there's going to be phases of your life where it is more personal. And this past year, I got married. We've had great success like at work too. And so kind of just honoring the stage of life that I'm in right now of, it's been a big kind of transition for me, but also just learning to kind of accept like my name's on the wall, but I deserve to be here just as much as anyone else who's here at this company. I've proven that. I've stepped up, and I'm continuing to do so, and I'm excited to do so.
I love that. And lastly, in one word, what are you the first of in your family?
I really loved this question. It was hard for me to think about too, because I always defined myself as, oh, I'm a third generation developer. So I'm the third to do this. I'm the second generation developer within this specific company. Or I'm the third generation to go to college on that side. And it's always like, oh, I'm the second or I'm the third of this, not I'm the first to do this. But I will say I am the first woman in our family to step up into this role. And so that's important to me, just to honor. And I'm really proud of all the women that have also come before me, not in this role, but all the lessons that I've learned from them as well. I think it's so well-rounded.
Yeah, I love that. And congratulations. It's so amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a hard one. There's so many amazing things that come before me.
Yeah, I love that. All right. Well, thanks, Brecken, for coming on the show and for our conversation today. Again, just so much wisdom from you in 4.5 years of working with your family. And I can't wait to see what continues to happen over the next 4.5 and beyond. So glad you're...
Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciated our conversation and just getting to be candid about all things kind of family business. And I've appreciated everyone else who I've been able to have these candid conversations with. So like I said, you have all these questions, but you don't know who to ask kind of when you first step into that family business, and especially just being in a more unique position just of what we are kind of age-wise generationally of we're a little closer, and I'm lucky that there is a long pipeline ahead of me, and I'm looking forward to that. So just getting to have those conversations and understand what that could look like has fulfilled me in so many ways, just understanding what this life can look like together in that partnership within a family business.
Yeah, I love it. And you brought up a good point. If you know someone working in a family business or considering going into their family business that needs to know about this podcast, I would love for you to share that with them. With that, thanks everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.
That's it for today. I hope today's episode offered some clarity or at least a little company. If this resonated, I'd be so grateful if you'd share it with another next gen. While my podcast is for the successors, you can also check out its sister show, The Business Transition Roadmap, hosted by my business partner, Elizabeth Ledoux. There's lots of great material in business and family succession over there. I hope you'll take a listen. Be well, and see you next time.